In the closing year. Some 20 years after Ishin's coup.
Hello, this is Trevor from, just wherever. Currently, you know what? Fuck that. I'm gonna delete that. Hello, everybody. My name is Trevor. I'm currently trying to do these walkthrough of Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. It is an absolutely amazing game. However, it is quite difficult, and so that's why I'm starting to do these walkthroughs. Today will be part 1 of this whole walkthrough, and what we'll be going over is from the tutorial, from the start of the tutorial to right before we enter the memory. And the things that we'll be going over are combat basics, attacking, dodging, running, etc. As well as guarding versus deflection, perilous attacks, and then items we'll be getting will be the firecrackers and the shuriken wheel, and then the mini boss we'll be fighting is just the first general, which is one of the main mini bosses to deal with, and so I'll go over a lot of the basics with fighting them. And so first off, X is to jump, as you already should know by now. And also the main purpose of these little videos is to try and make the game easy. And so if you are doing the tutorial with these videos, you're about to see a pretty cheesy way to take care of the tutorial. You're supposed to sneak through it, however, to make your life easy, you're actually just gonna jump through it. Make sure to double tap it because you will come to... Okay. Yeah, that's... We're gonna delete that. Hello, everybody. We are going to be going over Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be going over Sekiro Part 1, which Part 1 will consist of the beginning of the tutorial to right before we start the memory. And the main purpose of this tutorial is to try and make your life easier with the game. However, with this Part 1, we'll be focusing on combat basics, such as guarding versus deflection, perilous attacks, and how to respond to them, as well as just like basic hitting and deflecting and things of that nature. One of the more important things for you to know is to jump, because we'll be using that a lot in combat. And yeah, just in general, this, as I said, this is to make it easy. And so if you are starting with the tutorial here, we're going to start off by actually just like walking, and then you'll just jump across. Make sure to double tap the X button, otherwise you will go a little bit slower. You'll go through these guys, pop down here, and then this should look familiar at this point if you're having a hard time with the tutorial. And there you go. We are now halfway through the tutorial. So just walk a little bit. Once they get your attention, blah, blah, blah. If I could talk, that would be better. Once they see you, then you start jumping. If you jump too early, they can actually just snipe you right in the air. And that's no good. So you'll also want to talk to Kuro right afterward.
Loyal, I see you. It is this you.
You get a healing gourd.
Do you know? No, right? There's this Lord. I want you. You know, I will.
I won't really be giving over story stuff. However, if you want, there actually is a pretty amazing story to go with this game. So I just equipped the healing gourd. Obviously, we'll equip other quick items as we go along. Now, combat basics. There are 2 ways to kill people. Well, 3 ways, I should say. 1, you deplete their vitality. 2, you build up their posture and do a death blow. And 3, you sneak up on them, do a death blow. The normal enemies, you'll be able to just kill with a single death blow. More powerful enemies will require a second and potentially even a third. So, to attack, you click R1. And then to guard, you click L1. The difference between guarding and deflecting is if you perfectly time the guard. And so I'll show you the difference. One of the main things to recognize is the difference in sparks, so then you know which one you got. And so right here, he'll hit you. Really basic spark, right? Nothing too flashy. But then, really flashy ones, that's a deflect. And as you saw, it built up his posture when he attacked me. We'll get a little more practice on there. Clicking R3, the right joystick is how you lock on. And then remember that sneaking is a very important part of this game, at least in the beginning. So normally you only want to fight one at a time. And so if you're not moving, you'll definitely want to be guarding. We'll practice that. We'll show the difference a couple more times. And so he'll come in for the attack. Deflect. I'm hoping that you're able to see the difference there, because if you're just sitting here guarding. Another important thing to recognize is that you can sit in like this, and you can still deflect them. It looks kind of weird, but I just call it blade dancing, just because you're getting ready to deflect them. And so there's that. So with those two, you focus on the defense, you let them come to you, deflect, and kill. For these guys, we'll make your life easy by coming up here first, jumping, death blow. So it's kind of okay to spam L1. Don't do it too often, because it does make it slightly more difficult to pull off the deflect, but you know, there's also no harm in that, because you will guard, and guarding is a very important thing. So now that we're about to fight this first mini-boss, which you actually don't have to fight him, but I'm going to, just because, as I said, these are the main mini-bosses you'll be fighting. So we're going to heal up with the healing gourd, and come in against leader Shigenori Yamauchi. And so just like this said, when you deflect, after you click R1, it'll be counter slash, which is a quicker way to respond. And so when you deflect, you get a quicker response time. And so you'll be in guard, deflect. And so it's definitely important to watch out for his patterns. So like when he goes up for a strike, you want to make sure that you are guarding. Another quick thing to notice is your own posture will decline quicker if you are in a guard stance. So you see how what I'm kind of doing there is alternating between attacking and deflecting. And so You gotta watch out for what they're going to do, just like that. If you're not watchful, then they will get a solid hit in. I'm gonna fight them just a little bit more so that you can see a bit more of the deflecting. You really gotta be careful because one hit is the difference between life and death in this game. That's the real reason we fought him, was for for that pellet. Pellets are a very nice thing to have because it's an alternate method of healing other than just your healing gourd. The way I did that, by the way, was I was running and then jumped just right before he got to the ledge. Otherwise, you'd want to click square so that you hang there. The game then wants you to go up that way. I'll show you the basic thing that they want you to do there, is just to wall jump and then ledge hang. That will get you to a lot of different places that you wouldn't normally have access to. So learn that. But to make it go by quicker, we're going to go this way. You'll run, jump, wall jump, and then you'll be over here. When you are over here, that's your goal. So you'll come, jump on off the corner, and land right there. If you're a little bit short, that's okay. Just make sure you click square so that you ledge hang. That way you don't fall off the edge and die. You'll then go here, whistle. I'm skipping the cutscene. And then I'm also just going to walk on through, not even pay attention to Kuro. For this next fight, it's entirely useless to try and win, unless you want to feel really cool. There's no point to it. And so, honestly, just let him hit you and be done with it. I'm also going to skip this cutscene because you get to experience it for yourself. So yeah, make your life easy, don't bother fighting him, and we're done. You're supposed to lose this fight. So, I'll be skipping that. You lose your arm, then you wake up, and you have another arm. It's a Shinobi prosthetic, which has a grappling hook, and as you play through the game, you'll be getting many tools to be very helpful for you. He's the one that gave it to you. We're just gonna walk past him for now. Grab that item, because pellets are important. Currently, this is a pretty empty menu, but later this will be where we increase our vitality, our attack power, and gain skills, as well as purchasing some spirit emblems, which spirit emblems are how you use the Shinobi prosthetic. So the grappling hook, you click L2 to use, and anytime there is a green circle, that's when you can use it. This will also come up against some specific enemies that you can use it on. Later on, you'll also gain a skill called the grappling hook attack, which is very nice for some of the later enemies. You can also travel amongst the sculptor's idols. So, but here we are with the next little section. I personally like to come up over this way. Take care of them. In order to acquire loot, you just click and hold square. And so, as I said, we'll be going over combat basics. And so, dodging, you just click O. However, something that I've noticed with this game is that it's actually better to run. Like, you'll start with the step dodge, but a lot of times the enemy is smart enough to follow you. And so if you run after you step dodge, then you can generally dodge a lot easier. So with this guy, we're going to practice a little more with deflecting. So you'll notice his posture isn't building up much at all, but when you deflect, it builds up quite a bit. When you personally get deflected, 9 times out of 10, it is best to go straight into guard. We'll show that in a little bit with some enemies in just a bit. but just a basic rule of thumb, if you get deflected, which that's why it's important to notice the difference in sparks, is because then you will be able to hit them back when they try and do a counter slash. We'll see if this guy will do it for me. See that? So I got deflected. So you just instantly go right back into guard so that you don't get hit. All these enemies do a massive amount of damage to you, and so just don't do it. Once we're over here, another basic rule of thumb is when you're in the outside world, like away from bosses, you always want to take out the ranged enemies first, which is what we'll do right here. They are a great annoyance if you don't take them out first, so we'll practice a little more with this guy. Deflect, so you go into guard. You got deflected, you go to guard. Keep yourself safe. While this game is highly aggressive, it is also important to be defensive. So having a back and forth with attacking and guarding is good to have. You'll notice how quickly you can go into the guard phase despite taking a little bit to attack. And so if you're ever unsure about whether or not an attack will go through, be sure to go into the deflect so that you don't get hurt. As I said, all enemies will do a lot of damage to you. If you're not going to go backwards, always rest. If you do go backwards, then don't, because then you don't have to fight people twice. So we're going to grapple hook over here, and to the left there is the shuriken wheel. We'll go back to the sculptor for that later, but for now we will continue forward. So there is your first mini-boss, the first real mini-boss I should say, outside of the tutorial. Once again, my purpose in these videos is to make your life easy, so we're going to do just that. Don't charge straight in. Instead, go this way. You'll hop up there, get yourself another item, which I'm going to equip the pellets into my quick items now, and we're going to continue over this way. Get behind him, and when you are crouched, you make less noise, and so you can get closer behind people and get your first death blow. So now this is where the perilous attacks come in, as I said at the beginning of the video. There will be 3 perilous attacks. The first one is a thrust, which currently the only way to avoid this one is to either run, because as I said, just doing the step dodge, you can't get away quick enough. So you either run, or you deflect. If you guard it, you will get hit regardless, and so you have to deflect it. The second one is a sweep, which for that you jump. When you jump, click X again, and you'll actually jump off of them, which then gives you a it builds up their posture a lot more than what you could have. And then another thing to note is that when you are in the air, you also can attack. And so jump to avoid the sweep, jump off of their heads to build up posture, and as you're coming back down, swing a little bit to protect yourself. The final one is their grabs. Pretty much, you just sprint or jump out of their range. There are a few that can still grab you even if you jump, so I recommend sprinting 9 times out of 10 with this. So, with that, we'll get into the fight. He does the 2 perilous attacks of thrusts and sweeps. There's a sweep. With this game, you'll also want to stay as close as you can to a lot of enemies. So as I said, focus a lot more on defense. That move that he was just about to do it lets him regain his posture. Don't let him do it. That's why you stay close. So just kind of hit him when his posture's coming back. So I let him live, that way you can see a little bit more of the fight. And I'm also going to let him do that so you see what he does. Takes away a lot of his posture. So that's what happens when you get a little greedy, but if you're not, you have a healing board. Don't let him do it. You just kind of stay close, push the attack if you're comfortable with everything. So you just kind of watch for the perilous attacks, make the correct decision, and stay close. So always focus on his attacks to make sure that you don't get hit. And also, get that free death blow. Free death blows are always nice. So we're gonna now get to this next portion. There's quite a few enemies over here, and so we're gonna go the sneaky route. First we're gonna go this way. Up top. And to that tree right there. These enemies are harder to deal with, so we'll take care of him first. And then the next enemy we're going to take care of is right down here. He's a big boy, so we're just going to sneak up on him and kill him before we have to deal with him in combat. Those big boys, we never want to fight them fairly, but I will teach you how to do so. Still avoid it if you can. And once again, as I said, rule of thumb, always go for the ranged enemies first. So we're going to take out him. And now we're going to try and take care of some of the other guys. There will be 3 coming up this way, but we got this ranged dude to deal with first. They don't do that often. That's kind of funny. They don't run off the edges very often, so that's a new one for me. So, I don't know if you heard that, but there's a little gong in the background. That just means that you are backed into stealth mode, pretty much. As I said, you always want to fight them just one at a time. The game becomes a lot more difficult if you fight groups. And so, if you can, just kind of keep your space if you are fighting in groups, and just kind of tap and dip. That way you don't have to fight the multiple enemies. One more thing with the combat basics is if you hold R1, you do a stress attack. So the only way for them to guard against it is to deflect. In the top right corner, you just saw that I got a skill point. Currently, we don't have any use for that, but they are extremely important, especially the first skill that I'm going to have you get. And with that, we killed all the enemies. Just make sure you fight them one-on-one. Don't take the risks and fight all of them. Try and stay as stealthy as possible, and be sure to take out that big boy first. Down here, we've got this old lady, and she is the one that's going to take us to the memory. So we're going to talk to her.
I am not...
She gives you a bell. With that bell, that is how we are going to go into the memory. You can talk to this guy if you want. You don't really get anything for it, other than potential story. But again, I'm not going to really be going over story stuff. That's up for you to find out. So for the next item that we're going to be getting, we need some more money. We need 500 sen for it, and so we're going to come this way. which is actually where the shopkeeper is for us to get that item. So you just come from that building, go right there, look to your left, and grapple hook up. You can actually grapple hook all the way up, but you don't even have to take breaks like I did. And here is your first shopkeep.
To purchase an offer.
An offer?
Indeed, from the looks. Go ahead.
The item we're going to go for is Robert's Firecrackers. You can also sell items here. The only things that are really worth money to sell are the light coin purses, so I recommend that you just keep your other stuff. So we're going to come over here, grapple hook to that building, and pick up that item. Then I'm kind of going to come down here. And again, you're going to go back to where that old lady is. Except you're going to go below this time, which will be right over here into this field. You're going to kill this giant chicken. Giant chickens are rude, so you're aware. And right down here, you'll see some pots. Break those pots and come into this part. There'll be a couple more light coin purses for you, and those are each worth 100 sen. So now we have enough to get those firecrackers. So we'll get that, and then we will go to the memory. So once again, you walk down these stairs, look to the left, grapple hook, grapple hook, grapple hook.
Care to purchase?
So we have 200 sen. If you've just gone through and killed all the enemies just one time, you'll have 200. So you'll sell 3 of those to purchase Robert's Firecrackers. If you have extra sen, I do recommend to buy these light coin purses, because while it does cost you 10 extra sen, you do not lose those purses if you die, which is something that I haven't mentioned yet, is when you die, you lose half of everything that you've gained. That is skill points and sen. So, try not to die. Obviously, you are going to die. This is a hard game, but try not to die when you're just about there with skill points and when you just barely got enough money. Play it safe. Use the money. Put it into the coin purses. Keep yourself sane so that you don't lose a bunch of stuff, and then don't go into boss fights when you have when you're just about to reach with that stuff. So use the money first before you can go to boss fights. So now, as I said earlier, this is where you'll be using your vitality. When you gain 4 prayer beads, you'll be able to increase your health and posture. So we're going to travel to the dilapidated temple. When you get to the temple, you'll come right over here and talk to the sculptor.
What? You're out there too. You too. What seems to
So if you talk to him after you take care of that, then you come over here, and he'll give you the esoteric text, which is how you gain skills and what you use the skill points for.
What? Shinobi record whether you shinobi.
Talk to him again.
I found one.
A shinobi.
Yes.
I said, but thick shield fitting more if there. That's all. The more ice, give it here.
You'll present the shinobi prosthetic, so then you can get the loaded shuriken and the shinobi firecracker. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to talk to Emma and equip those
the power of the
shinobi tools.
Who are you?
I
What?
forget how to. I'm not.
Emma is best girl.
The
We love her
that I am
because you present your
yeah,
healing
but
gourd.
Even
Yeah.
bring. Yeah,
You give her gourd seeds, and you let yourself heal more.
Is this
Yeah, let her. Now the.
such a...
Is it? If it's a that's
Wait.
please. Oh,
It was probably... I was told...
does the if it does he?
As I said, the spirit emblems are how you use the shinobi tools, but we will now take this moment to equip those prosthetic tools. And so, right up there, you'll just click X on it. Pretty much you'll always want the shuriken, so I always keep that in the first slot, and then the shinobi firecracker we'll put in there. Make sure to read the description, because the firecrackers are particularly potent against beast-type enemies, such as horses, or a bull, or even a monkey, perhaps. And so, just read the descriptions, make sure that you know when it's effective to use these things. And so, from here, we'll be going into the memory. But that's it for part 1. I hope that was helpful as a walkthrough to figure out where to go and basics for fighting. Once again, that's it. So, that's it for part 1. Have a good one. Hello everybody, this is now part 2 for the Sekiro walkthrough. With this part, we will be going from the beginning of the memory that you'll be going into to the mini-boss Juzo the Drunkard. A lot of people have issues with him, and so different things we'll be going over today with this is using shinobi tools properly, fight mini-boss / boss tactics, for instance, vitality versus posture focus, because most bosses have really good posture, but if you bring their vitality down, that posture quickly becomes breakable. Or in some cases, some bosses or mini-bosses just don't have very good posture to begin with, and so you'd focus on breaking that down. Couple items that we'll be getting with this walkthrough today as well will be the flame vent, the loaded axe, Mist Raven, a couple of esoteric texts, and a prayer bead that's just hiding behind the wall. The skills you'll want to learn will be the chasing slice and Makiri counter. You should have 1 skill point by now, and with that we'll start with this. So we'll rest at the sculptor's idol. Go down to acquire skills. As you can see right here, you can learn the Makiri counter, but that's when you have 2 skill points. And so that's just how you get there. After we go through a little bit of the memory, we will be coming back here to talk to the sculptor to fit some of those shinobi tools. But to get into the memory, you'll go to that Buddha and click square to pray. I'm going to skip it so you can experience it for yourself. Which, as a side note for you, memories in this game can apply to modern day because it's somehow, I don't know the full reasoning for it, but it lets you experience new things as well as having it happen at the same time. It's pretty crazy. If you know more about Japanese mythology than I do, it would probably make more sense to you, but it's still really cool. So you're going to rest at that sculptor's idol, come over here, and one of my friends described this game as Ninja Spider-Man, and it's entirely true, so don't be afraid of cliffs like this, because then you'll just be able to grapple hook. More often than not, there will be a point where you can grapple, so be not afraid of cliffs. He'll tell you what year it is, Sekiro will be a little confused, just like, wait, that's in the past. That's the first enemy we'll be killing here. These guys give you a bit more experience points than the ones that we had previously fought, and they're actually easier. The problem is that there are a lot of them. So we'll be going over this way. What he just did is he kicked some dirt in my face. Don't ask me how he managed to do that, because we're on the bridge. And once again, don't fight people multiple at once. Dip in, dip out if you have multiple people fighting you. Up next are a few wolves. For wolves, they're actually not too bad if you deflect really well against them. And so, for those, just be watchful of when they're coming for you. That was a thrust attack. Obviously, try to avoid that. I dodged behind him, but that's because I'm used to the Makiri counter. We'll go over that soon enough. So now you come over this way. The reason for us going over this way is a couple of items. And also another shopkeep. Oh. Oh, see, I didn't deflect. So I should have dodged. Obviously, even some veterans can make mistakes. Which, by the way, I am by no means a pro. I'm just trying to make other people's lives easier. So, this is now introducing another element of resurrection. The only time the world is affected negatively is if you 100% die. And so, with this, you can use that to your advantage by waiting to resurrect for these people to turn around, like he just did. So then you can get yourself a free death blow. And that's fun too. When you are knocked down, be sure to recognize when you're kind of staggering, because you can still take damage when you are in that state. And so be extremely careful and be ready to click O or X. This guy's another merchant. See that fish over there? That's a treasure carp. This guy sells you stuff from treasure carp scales. And so whenever you're in the water, you'll see those treasure carp, and from them, be wary with them, however, because there are some man-eating fish that like to accompany treasure carp, apparently. So you can purchase items. Divine grass is a very useful thing. This weathered red gourd is very helpful in closer to end game stuff. And then this is for multiple playthroughs. And this last one is a technique, which I actually really like it, but we probably won't be using that in this walkthrough. So you can mess around with it if you want, but we won't be messing with it here. So now that we've talked to him, we'll come over this way. And we'll now be going up here. You'll have to wall jump that one. To this sculpture's idol. We will rest because we always want at least one node of resurrection, which you get automatically for resting at the sculpture's idol. That also restores our healing gourd uses. And as I said, when you're in the outside world, you want to take out the ranged enemies first. So instead of going down that path, you'll actually come up here. Stay on the left side of the building, otherwise those guys can see you. And right down here is the guy we're gonna kill first. The next guy we'll be killing is him. For these guys, you can spam R1, but again, be careful. To make sure that they don't get in a sneaky counterattack against you. So then, after you take out those guys, which you also don't really have to fight them, you can just go right over there and right in here. For these enemies, again, you want to take out the ranged people first, and he is your first archer, so we're going to go for him. We're then going to take out this guy. When you are in the death blow animation, you are invincible, by the way, so use that to your advantage when you can. This guy, he's a bit bulkier, and so you can't spam R1 against him. I just did, but normally you can't, so be careful, get ready to block. In this building, there's one more guy. For some reason, he's poking at the corner. I will grab that item, and we will then be moving forward. You'll also notice that I'm getting a lot of send from these guys. I will show you a farming method in this little area shortly, but not right now. So right over here is your next area with a lot of people in there. We are going to actually go this way. That will hurt us. But, once again, wolves are easy if you've got good timing with your deflect, or if for some reason they don't notice you. This guy's drunk, so we're just going to get a few kill on him. And then, we want to take out archers first. So, we'll jump across the building to take him out. He's still sleeping, so we're going to take him out before he wakes up. And we don't want to find multiple people, so we're actually going to run away for a bit. It's not worth it to try and prove yourself. Sekiro is a game of patience, and you're totally fine to not have to worry about proving yourself to anyone, because you're not playing in front of the whole world like I am. So, again, just mostly focus on fighting them one at a time, and don't let them corner you like I almost just did. As I said, I'm not a pro. I'm just trying to make your lives easier. So, my plan worked. They got separated. And thus you can take them out one at a time. Obviously, if you run away, you can also go back into a sneak attack. And thus, you can save yourself a bit more time that way as well, just by sneak attacking them. That item right there that I just picked up, very important. That is your next shinobi tool, the flame vent. That's one of my favorites, to be perfectly honest with you. So we'll be using that a lot in these walkthroughs, just because I feel like it makes life a lot easier for a lot of enemies. Juzo the Drunkard being one of them. So next up is the loaded axe tool that we'll be getting. For that, you'll climb out that way. We want to take out the bulkier guy, and so if you want to, go ahead and eavesdrop, but I don't feel a need, so we're going to run. Oh, that didn't work. But I was still able to get the sneak attack on him, so We take those here. If it works, it works, you know? It doesn't matter if you win by the skin of your teeth, if you just win. Okay, that did not work out. He's dead now. Next up. Take him out. And then, in this temple right here, I'll show you how to get there again, just in case I kind of just glanced over it. You come up from this angle, you talk to that guy, and he lets you know there's a tool that he wants you to use. You come over this way into that temple right here. Open that door up, and get yourself the Shinobi Axe of the Monkey. This is the point that we will be going and going back to the Sculptor's Idol. However, to get yourself a few more Sen and a couple more skill points, we're going to take out these guys first. You'll take him out first, because he's bulkier. Basically, general rule of thumb is you want to take out the archers first. You don't have to take out any archers. You want to go for the bulkier guys. These guys right here are the reason we're going back. They have shields. Annoying to fight without the loaded axe. So we're just going to ignore them. And we're going to come over this way. You'll get yourself an item. And a shortcut. You can sneak attack those shield guys, by the way. It's just difficult, so we're not going to worry about that. Back to the Sculptor's Idol. Dilapidated Temple. Oh, also another mini-boss that I forgot to mention that we'll be taking care of is the Shinobi Hunter. And this is also the reason why we'll need the Makiri counter. The Makiri counter pretty much trivializes any thrust attacks people throw at you. Practice with it. There are some awkward timings that you'll be getting, but it'll be easy enough for you to catch on with it. So practice with it. It's amazing.
There is one, the great, what you that. I'm not that.
Which, in my opinion, it is actually the singular most important skill in the game is the Makiri counter. So, okay, there we go. We now have the loaded axe and the flame vent.
The Shinobi appears you've taken to here.
And he also gives us the prosthetic esoteric text.
What is it?
It can bite, you know.
Basically, skills that involve your
if you want more
prosthetic arm.
just is no the least I can.
So, in order to cycle through, we'll be using triangle. So then you can choose between the Shinobi Firecracker or the Shuriken. We'll now go here to acquire the skills that I told you that you will be acquiring. The first one, Makiri counter, the most important skill in the game. And then you'll also want the Chasing Slice. The next skill we'll be getting is the Grappling Hook attack, but Chasing Slice comes first. You'll then travel to the Hirata Estate and the Estate Path. For very early game, this is also the tactic that you'll be using to farm skill points if you feel that's necessary, and also send and also other required materials. And so what you'll do is, once again, you'll come over this way first, and then right before you kill this ranged person, you'll come to your inventory and you'll pop the Mibu Possession Balloon. With that, it increases the chances of you obtaining items from killing enemies. And so you'll pop that. I'm not going to because I don't feel a need to. I'm just teaching you how to farm. And then you'll kill this guy. You'll take him out. Kill that guy. That was really difficult. I don't know why that was so hard. But, yeah, you'll take him out. The possession balloon only lasts so long. And so, that's when you'll come up this way. Take out the bulkier guy first. And you'll actually not do what I just did. You won't be acquiring all that loot right away. So don't do this if you are farming. So, you know what, actually, I'm going to tell you how to farm in a bit, because we're actually going to take care of a mini-boss first. And also these shield guys. Anytime people have shields, the loaded axe is your tool to use against them. The loaded axe is... basically, it breaks any shield, and it also destroys posture. And so if you've got an enemy that doesn't have a lot of posture, you can use this to just destroy them. And then also, something to note is when you do break a shield, you'll also break their posture. So, R2 to use them, break the shield, death blow. Now once again, R2 is how you use the shinobi tool. So, you'll wait for prime opportunity. R2 breaks it, which also breaks their posture. It's very nice. So, next up is the Shinobi Hunter. When you are fighting mini-bosses that have enemies nearby them, you always want to take out the enemies first. You don't want to fight the mini-boss while also having to deal with his cronies around. And so, to deal with that, you'll actually take this guy out first. That archer will notice you. Shinobi Hunter saw me. So actually, we're going to dip out. Because remember, there is absolutely no shame in running away. Wait for his health bar to go away, which that's how you know you got away from mini bosses, is if their health bar goes away. And just quick side note for you, you can't get a sneaky death blow, run away, and then come back to get another sneaky death blow and kill them off. They will get their death blow back that you originally got. So once you're in that combat, you have to be stuck there. They avoided that big of a cheese. So I'll actually come over this way, duck under. That way we can use these flowers for stealth. And there's your archer. Take him out. If the Shinobi Hunter sees you, run away. But that's just one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is to just kind of keep running, because no enemy is as fast as you are. And so you can actually just run around pretty much everything. So we'll be coming around this way, take him out. So then, once again, you'll just kind of focus on running as you take them out like one at a time. So that's another method that you can do to avoid the mini-boss and regular enemy troubles. Alright, so at this point, I would advise you to run away so you get the free death blow. But to show you more of the fight, I am going to try and take him on mano-a-mano just from here. The main thing he'll be doing is thrust attacks, which is why we want to practice the Mikiri counter. When you do the Mikiri counter, you'll have a lot of options directly afterward. This is one of the weird timings ones. But anyway, we're going to back up a bit. When you see that, 9 times out of 10, he'll be doing a thrust attack. And so, be ready to Mikiri counter. And the way you do that is you dash forward with O and clicking the joystick upward at the same time. Just like so. So that's how you use the Mikiri counter. And anytime that perilous attack comes up, that's when you'll have that chance to use it. As long as you're doing a thrust attack, I should say. That was a sweep attack. I should have jumped there. So, be wary of that. Sweep attack, jump kick, attack on your way down. Your counter. And just like that, he's gone. And that is why the Mikiri counter is so important. That guy is so much more difficult if you do not have a Mikiri counter, or if you have not practiced with it yet. So, practice with the Mikiri counter, get ready for his thrust attacks, and be watchful for his sweep attack. And that's how you fight the Shinobi Hunter. So then, we'll come over this way. You'll also notice the Shinobi Hunter had very weak posture. And so, if you have a good opportunity to use the loaded axe, use the loaded axe. It'll break his posture pretty quickly. And so, just be watchful. Once again, focus on the Mikiri counter, and then watch out for his sweep attacks. Be ready to guard when he attacks, so then you deflect him, building up his posture even more. So this next little run will actually be headed over to grab the Mist Raven, which is another Shinobi tool. You'll use that to come over this way, and then you'll hop into the water. There's also another treasure carp over this way, so if you want to purchase those things from that treasure carp vendor, that would be your time to do it. Which I will be going ahead and killing the carp. Now the carp, when it sees you, will run away, and it is extremely fast, and if it's away from you for too long, it'll just disappear. Don't worry, it will come back. So you won't lose a treasure carp scale because you weren't sneaking. Anyway, from the water, you'll come up onto that branch, come over this way, and to your right you'll see a cave with some dried bamboo growing over it. You can just dash through the bamboo, or you can cut it, doesn't matter. You'll come over this way, and you'll jump on one wall, and you'll actually be able to jump all the way up. And then this next enemy is one of the hardest regular enemies in the game. I'd rank him as number 2 hardest to deal with as a regular enemy. However, this also isn't a Shinobi tool that I'll be using, and so if you don't feel the need to get it, don't get it. It's a nice Shinobi tool, I just personally don't use it. And so you've got 2 options, either 1, we're gonna fight him, or 2, you can actually just run, open the door, which when you're opening doors, you're also invincible. If you get cornered, don't be afraid to run. I'm gonna revive so that I can run over here and pick up the item. I am gonna try and fight him. I don't think I'll win, to be honest with you. He's one of those enemies that if you aren't fully prepared to fight, he will kill you. So see. So this is another one of those enemies that's... he's... oh, whoops. That works. I guess I'm not going to fight him. So that's one way to get away from him, is you just jump down, I guess. So, yeah, we'll keep going. I won't worry about fighting him, because apparently I'm just not supposed to fight him. So he'll come up over this way, kill a couple guys, and from here, once again, you want to take out ranged people first. So there's a couple of your ranged guys. When you're running, it is very difficult to hit you. And so, if you aren't ready to be killing people, be sure that you're running. So that's how you take care of those 3 archers. If you're standing still, they will kill you very easily. So, in Sekiro, if you're not in combat, you're running. I'll show you how I got there real quick by going backward for a bit. And I'll actually rest at the bonfire so that you get the rest of the sculptor's idol, so that you get the full experience. So we're gonna rest. You can come up over this way. That way, you don't fight them all 1v1. Grapple up to this tree. Sneak attack that guy. Take him out. Take out a couple of the archers. And then for skill points and Sen, go backwards a little bit more. And then we'll come up this way. There is an enemy there, and so if you want to try and fight them head on, that's where you'll go first. And then run. You're invincible during death blows, so use that to your advantage. Just like that. Make sure to get your loot. And then, remember how I said we don't want to fight the big boys fairly? Well, that's one of the big boys. And so, there's also 2 guys with shields. I'm going to show you how to fight them. I don't really recommend actually fighting them, though. So you'll actually come down this way first. Don't jump, or they will see you. Get your loaded axe ready. That guy. Run behind him so you can get that sneaky death blow. And then be ready to take on the archer first, because we always take out ranged people first. And then for the dude with the shield, loaded axe. I've got no idea why I wasn't doing the death blow there. But that's okay. As you can see, I have a lot of Sen right now, and so this would be the time to use it to go buy different things. But I'm a cocky son of a gun, and so I'm not going to do it. But don't take unnecessary risks. You'll be talking to your Papa Bear. He gives you a key Because you go this way along the cliffside, so that's what we'll do. Turn around from him, go up the tree, up onto this building. Grapple hooked to the cliffside. Pretty much just follow the grapple points to continue down this path. You can drop down this way. And from here, once again, there are a lot of enemies. You don't have to fight them. You can just run past them. But I feel like for a walkthrough, it's important to actually try and fight enemies. That way, you know how to deal with them easily enough as well. Once again, have your loaded shuriken ready. Come over this way, take out an archer before he becomes a problem. For the shield guys, get your loaded axe ready. Let them rush you so that you can just break them apart. You'll also notice if you can get 2 hits off before the axe swinger can hit you, you can actually stop him from doing an attack against you. So that's your timing to watch out for. If you don't think you can get a second hit in quick enough, go to guard. So from that pavilion that we jumped onto, you come this way, take out the archer, and then into this cave. You'll notice how I once again fought them one at a time, because fighting them all together is a terrible, terrible idea. So then once you're in the cave, you'll come over here, and you'll have another one of those footstool thing, where you can jump across everything. Keep going all the way to the top. Come over this way for the sculptor's idol. If you're not going backwards, always rest. So from here, you'll come this way, turn to the right. So, this next section is our next mini-boss, Juzo the Drunkard. He actually is pretty hard, and so I lied. We're not going to go this way yet. Nah, you know what? Nah, I'm going to go this way. But before we fight Juzo, we will then go back to the sculptor to fit the flame vent. That way we can make this fight a little bit easier for ourselves. Grapple hook up here. More than likely, you'll still be seen. This is just so that you can come around to the back to take out some of the ranged people, because we always want to take out ranged people first. So our first ranged person is right there. Take him out. Don't fight multiple people at the same time. Which, this is also one of those moments where we can just use this to run away from enemies so that we don't have to fight them all at the same time. Hit and run if you are facing multiple enemies at once. Be watchful of your health. Because the lower your health, the quicker your posture breaks as well. Okay, we got 2 people, so we're gonna dip out for a little bit. So, now that we've killed all of them, the next area is where Juzo the Drunkard is. And so, now we'll go back to get our Flame Vent equipped, because the Flame Vent does make this fight significantly easier. In my opinion, at least. If my opinion doesn't work for you, there's other YouTubers, so you can see what other people tried to do to fight him to try and make it easier. But for my tactic, we're going to need the Flame Vent. You can go ahead and take this moment to look at your phone, do whatever you please. Hey, someone just subscribed to me. That was entirely unnecessary. I know, I'm sorry. So, now that we're here, talk to the sculptor and fit the Mist Raven. You know what? I suck. I thought I didn't do the Flame Vent. This was entirely useless. I'm gonna trim this before I do this. So... awkward! Luckily, we have the capability of trimming stuff beforehand. So... now I'm just talking complete nonsense, because this will be deleted. Alright, so, from the Sculptor's Idol, let's see if I can actually I'm going to rest here, because then I can line up the video properly. You'll also have 3 skill points by now, and so you'll use this rest to learn a couple skills. As I said, our next skill that we'll be learning is the grappling hook attack, so go ahead and take that. The next thing is you can either get Fang and Blade, which gives you a follow-up attack for the loaded axe. However, I'm going to have you do the Whirlwind Slash and the Run and Slide. Or, actually, no, I lied. Whirlwind Slash, Midair Deflection. That's much more important than the Run and Slide. And so, pretty much what that lets you do is, when you are in midair, you can now guard. And so, those pesky arrow people that shoot you in the air, they can't do that anymore if you're paying attention. So, we just learned a combat art, so we're going to equip that. It's the Whirlwind Slash. The way to use Whirlwind Slash is you click L1 and R1 at the same time. You can change your direction. It's pretty cool that way, because that's good for fighting multiple enemies at once. We also have the follow-up attack to the Shuriken, which, to use that, R2, R1. So, now that we have a couple of those things ready, from the Sculptor's Idol, you'll come this way, take a right, take a right again, take this guy out. There's a lot of enemies over this way, and you've got 2 options, either 1, avoid them all, or 2, fight them for SP and Sen. I'm going to fight them. Once again, we always want to take out ranged people first. So you'll find your archers. Which for some reason I can't find them. There you are. There's my archers. I locked onto the wrong person. Alright, see, that's why you don't fight multiple people all at the same time. You just don't do it. They will all kill you very, very quickly. You are invincible during death blows, use that to your advantage. That was the chasing slice that I just used, by the way. Once again, R2, R1. Don't fight multiple people at once. run away at all costs. Just so you are aware, I will be resting at the Sculptor's Idol before I go fight Juzo. So... currently the main reason we are still fighting these guys, despite the fact that I should probably rest at the Sculptor's Idol right now, is the fact that we are so close to getting another skill point, which we do not want to go up against Juzo with us having that skill point so close to being obtained. If you're having a hard time fighting these guys, remember you can grapple hook your way up here, which can give you some breathing room. That way you don't have to fight everyone all at once, or you can also just run away. Very important things to remember. Sekiro is a game of patience. So, since he has less vitality, we're going to go for him first. And now we just got this last guy to worry about. Once again, 2 hits makes him stagger, 1 hit does not. So, be focused on defending, less than on attacking. So before we go to fight Juzo, I'm going to heal up. And this time I'm going to fight them a lot better than what I just did. I might trim this part of the video too, actually. Solar Rest. Wait, I've got... Hey, Marissa! You're watching me! I didn't notice that you sent me a message until just now. How you doing? So take out your archers first. Come up here. Oh, I messed up. And you're going to take out your archers first. That way you don't have to deal with them as much. Or, at this point, you don't have to worry about them anymore. You can come over this way. I will be fighting them, however, just for the sake of making sure that you know a little bit more of what you're doing. Very nice, I took out both archers at the same time. Normally, I don't get that lucky, so... Don't find multiple people at once. It's a terrible idea. So we'll use grapple hook to our advantage to get away. Be separated from the group. But hit and run when you are fighting multiple people. Now this is also a good time to use the Whirlwind Slash, because as I said, it's really good against groups of people, and you'll also remember, as I said, that those axe people get staggered after 2 hits, which just so happens to be what the Whirlwind Slash does. So, as I said earlier, we'll want the Flame Vent, so you'll equip that. Okay, first thing to notice is right over there, there's a person. He is actually an ally. Don't try and attack him. But we're gonna not talk to him right now. If you can't see him, we'll get a little closer. He's right over here by this rock. Once you talk to him, he will charge into battle. Don't do that yet, because our tactic for fighting Juzo will be to kill all of the enemies first, because once again, you want to only have to worry about the mini-boss. So we'll take out all of his cronies, we'll get the sneaky death blow. When we get that sneaky death blow, Then we'll run over here and talk to him. So that's the battle plan. I'll show you what I do to do that. Grapple hook up here. And then we got... So overall, what we have, Juzo the Drunkard, he's the big boy right by that door. He's got two people with shields right next to him. Those 3 people. That guy furthest on the right is an archer. But we're first going to go over to the left into that building. When you go to this building, take him out. These guys are really good to practice the Kiri counter on because they do thrust attacks. So now, when you come into this building, we're going to come over this way. And we're going to take out this guy with a shield first, which will also get the attention of Juzo. As a result, we will now be running. So we're going to run over here to this archer. And Juzo will be chasing you through this building, but that will slow him down, which will then give us the opportunity to take care of some of his cronies without him breathing down our necks. So, once again, you'll be focusing on running around rather than fighting them fairly. Always be watchful for Juzo. Don't let him sneak up on you. I've been playing this game way too much, that's how I knew that he was there, in case you were wondering. So now it's just this guy with a shield left. We'll come over here, break the shield, and kill him. Now the last guy left is Juzo, which means that we'll be running away so that we'll lose interest, and that will allow us to get the death blow on him. So once again, always be focused on running if you don't feel comfortable with fighting the people that you are dealing with right then. So, now that it's just Juzo, you'll come around here, back into the building, and that is where he'll be standing. I'll wait for him to stand so that you know where he'll be ending. That's why you come through the building. And again, our strategy here, get the sneaky death blow, run over to that rock, and talk to your buddy that will now be joining you in this fight. Definitely go through that dialogue quick, because Juzo will a lot of times be right behind you. Don't let him poison you. So now with the flame vent, when you get 2 hits off with the fire, that is when he will gain the status effect of burn, and that will give you a couple of free extra hits right there. He has sweep attacks, so watch out for those. Make sure that he doesn't break your posture. And now that he's not burnt, you can burn him again. Just use a smart, unlike what I just did there. My buddy just died. However, we've almost got him, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. And so, with this main part of the fight, we'll be focused on guarding and deflecting. When he takes a drink, that's actually a perfect opportunity to get a couple free hits. What's awful about Juzo is how quickly he can break your posture. So So you'll watch out for those big attacks, which with those big attacks that he will do an overhead swing, that's when you can run behind him and get a free hit that way. But if you're not smart about it, like that, you will die. So we'll use that last healing gourd. I actually have no idea how he hit me right there. But, again, that's your strategy. Kill everyone else. Get the sneaky death blow. Talk to your friend. And then kill him. If I didn't mess up with the flame vent, I actually probably would have been able to kill him without my friend dying. So, the flame vent does use 3 spirit emblems, so you do have limited use with that. So be careful there. These last couple enemies will be the end of part 2. So as you saw, you just walk in, and then when you come this way, the way forward will actually be through here, but we're going to take a slight detour, hug this wall, and you're going to get a couple of items. Open this chest, which is the real reason we are here, and get yourself a prayer bead. So now with the next video, it'll be Lady Butterfly. If you want to, go ahead and fight her without watching the video. That's actually why I'll be separating bosses versus these parts. And so if you want help with just a specific boss, you can go right on ahead and skip to that boss when I have all these videos out. Otherwise, these parts are just to help you get there in general. So we'll be resting at the Sculptor's Idol. Enhance your physical attributes, because you should have 4 by this time. And we will rest. And with that, that ends part 2. And I hope that helped. Happy hunting with Sekiro, and have a marvelous day. Hello everybody, this is my Lady Butterfly video to try and help with fighting against Lady Butterfly. I lied, I'm going to do something first.